You know that little spy movie thrill when you click new Incognito Window? It feels like you just put on a digital invisibility cloak. But here's the twist. Incognito is not an invisibility cloak. It's more like closing the curtains inside your room while the street outside still sees your house. So let's open a few loops. If Incognito doesn't make you invisible, what does it actually do? Who can still see what you're doing? Your Wi-Fi, your school, your employer, your internet provider? Why do ads sometimes follow you even after you went incognito? And what would it take to actually become harder to track online? All right, let's pull the mask off. Incognito mode's real job is surprisingly simple. When you browse normally, your browser keeps a little diary, your history, cookies, saved logins, form fills, cached files, tiny breadcrumbs that make websites load faster and remember who you are. Incognito says I won't write that diary down, at least not on this device. That's it. It doesn't magically hide your traffic. It doesn't turn off the internet surveillance machinery. It just changes what gets stored locally. Think of it like ordering food and telling the waiter, "Don't save my order in your notebook." Cool. But the kitchen still cooks it. The cashier still charges you. The security camera still records you walking in. So, who still sees you? Now here's the clever part. To understand who can see you, picture the internet as a highway. Your browser is the car. Incognito mode is removing the stickers you normally leave on the windshield, but you still drive on the same roads. On those roads, there are toll booths, traffic cams, and license plate readers. And a lot of them don't care whether you're incognito. Let's meet the main watchers. Watcher number 1, the website you visit. If you go to a site, that site can still see your visit. Incognito does not stop the site from seeing your IP address, your device type, your screen size, your language settings, and a whole lot more. And if you log into that site, then you are basically walking into a party wearing sunglasses while holding a giant name tag that reads, "Hi, I am me." Incognito will not protect you from your own login. Which explains the first big myth. Myth number 1. Incognito means websites cannot identify you. Reality, incognito mostly means your browser will not remember the visit later. Websites can still recognize patterns, and if you sign in, you are identified. So that is the website. But there is another layer. Watcher number 2, your network. Your Wi-Fi router, your school network, and your workplace network can often see where traffic is going. Even if the content is encrypted, the destination can still be visible. Imagine you mail a letter inside a locked box. No one can read what's inside. The outside still shows the address it's going to. Incognito doesn't change the outside of the box. So if you're on a managed network, such as school, work, or certain public Wi-Fi, incognito doesn't stop that network from logging connections. Watcher number 3, your internet service provider. Your internet service provider sits even closer to the road itself. They can often see the domains you connect to, when you connected, and how much data moved. And again, incognito doesn't change that. Incognito is a feature inside your browser. Your internet service provider lives outside your browser. Different universe. But there's a twist. Tracking isn't just who saw your history. The real magic trick of the modern web isn't history. It's recognition. Most people picture tracking like a cookie jar. Websites drop a cookie, then later they read it and say, "Ah, it's you again." Incognito does help with that because it typically blocks persistent cookies from sticking around after you close the window. But tracking has evolved. The tracking toolbox, cookies, pixels, and the quietest spy of all. There are classic cookies, sure, but there are also other tools. Tracking pixels are tiny invisible images that load and signal that this page was opened. Third-party scripts are little chunks of code from ad networks that run in the background. Link tracking is where a normal link quietly passes an ID along. And then, fingerprinting. Fingerprinting is the one that feels like science fiction. Instead of asking your browser who you are, it asks what you are like. Your screen size, your fonts, your time zone, your language settings, your GPU quirks, how your browser draws a hidden image on a canvas, how you scroll, how your mouse moves, 1,000 tiny details that together can become surprisingly unique. It's like someone identifying you not by your name, but by your walk, your voice, the way you tie your shoes, and the exact scratch pattern on your keys. Incognito doesn't automatically defeat fingerprinting. Because fingerprinting doesn't need storage. It doesn't need to remember you with a cookie. It can recognize you by your shape. So what happens next? You might think, okay, but Incognito still helps a little, right? Yes, it is useful. Incognito is great for logging into a second account without logging out of the first. Avoiding your browser autofilling something embarrassing on a shared computer. Reducing local traces, like history and stored cookies. Testing what a website looks like for new visitors. But for actual invisibility, Incognito is not a stealth jet. It is a tidy desk. It keeps your computer cleaner. It does not make the world forget you exist. Let's zoom out. Why do ads still follow you? This part makes people feel haunted. You search for hiking boots. Then you open Incognito. Then, bam, hiking boots everywhere. So was Incognito lying? Not exactly. Here are a few ways the following happens. You didn't close all Incognito windows. If an Incognito session stays open, trackers can still track you within that session. You're logged in elsewhere. If you're logged into an account in a normal tab, Google, Meta, or Amazon, those ecosystems can still connect dots in lots of ways, especially across their own services. Fingerprinting and probabilistic matching can identify you. Even without cookies, some tracking systems can guess this is probably the same person based on device and behavior patterns. Sometimes it wasn't tracking, you just notice it more. Once your brain gets primed, you spot the ads like they're glowing. The web's following isn't always one simple thread, it's more like a net. Now let us do a quick invisibility reality check. If you open Incognito, who are you invisible to? Not the website, not your ISP, not your network admin, not the ad ecosystem necessarily, not your accounts if you log in. So who are you hidden from? Mostly, other people who use your device. Incognito is a privacy feature for your computer, not for the internet. But there is another twist. Incognito can create a false sense of safety, and that is the real danger. Because if you feel invisible, you behave differently. You click faster, you share more, you assume the trail is gone. But the trail may simply be stored somewhere else. On a server, in a network log, in analytics dashboards, in ad exchange data. Incognito often changes the feel of privacy more than the reality of privacy. So what would actually make you harder to track? Not invisible, just harder to follow. Think of online privacy as layers. Incognito is one thin layer, local privacy. If you want more, here are stronger layers. Layer 1, browser protections. Some browsers block third-party trackers more aggressively. Some reduce fingerprinting. Some isolate cookies by site. Layer 2, DNS and encrypted connections. Modern browsers increasingly use encryption for web traffic. But DNS, how your device looks up where a site lives, can still leak the destinations unless protected by encrypted DNS. Layer 3, VPN. A VPN can hide your traffic's destination from your local network and shift what your ISP can see, because your ISP mostly sees you connecting to the VPN server. But the VPN provider then becomes a new point of trust. It is like swapping who can see your travel plans. Layer 4, Tor. Tor routes your traffic through multiple relays to make it much harder to trace. It is slower, but it is designed for anonymity. And even then, logging into personal accounts defeats the point, because anonymity is not just about hiding the road. It is also about not shouting your name at the destination. Practical takeaways. Let's make this useful. Here are a few simple choices that actually move the needle, depending on what you are trying to do. 1. Use Incognito for what it is good at: shared device privacy. Borrowed laptop, shared family computer, public machine. Incognito helps reduce local history, cookies, and saved data. 2. Do not log into personal accounts if your goal is anonymity. The moment you log in, the site knows who you are, incognito or not. 3. Treat free Wi-Fi like a glass room. If you are on school or work networks, assume it can be logged. If that matters, consider using your mobile hotspot or a VPN, depending on your rules and comfort. 4. Reduce trackers at the source. Use browser settings or extensions that block third-party trackers. This cuts down the background whispering that happens on many pages. 5. Separate identities by design. Use different browser profiles for work and personal, or one browser for logged-in life and another for research life. This is like keeping 2 sets of keys instead of one giant keyring. 6. If you need stronger anonymity, use the right tool for the job. Tor is built for strong anonymity. For general privacy on networks, a reputable VPN can help. But remember, no tool can fix the fact that you logged into your own account. So, are you really invisible in Incognito? No. You are just harder to accidentally leave a mess for yourself on your own device. Incognito does not erase your footprints from the world. It mostly stops your computer from keeping a scrapbook of them. Because the internet is not a dark alley. It is a brightly lit mall. Incognito just turns off the receipt printer in your pocket. Once you know that, you can choose the right kind of privacy on purpose.